Okay, we're rolling. What is your name, birth date, and where were you born?
Okay, my name is John. They call me Jack Saatkamp. It's spelled Saatkamp. And born September the 4th, 1931, in a little town called Nokomis, Illinois. Nokomis was Hiawatha's grandmother, if you didn't learn who Hiawatha was. And that was by the shores of Gitchigumi stood the wigwam of old Nokomis. That was Hiawatha's grandmother. So anyway, that part of the history is over with. Longfellow wrote that.
Oh, right.
Anyway, like I said, I worked a year and a half for Caterpillar and quit. I told them I was going into service, but I didn't. I went to college. And if you told me you went to service, then when you got out of the service, you could start again at Caterpillar. But they found out that I went to college. So when I went back for a job in 1954, they wouldn't take me on because they were laying people off. You know, the war was over. They weren't building all these fancy Caterpillars and all that. So anyway, I started college again as an electrical engineer, and so I was into it pretty good. And I met my wife. She was a school teacher, and she was a year younger than me, and so I still got her. And so we've been married 60 years last March. So anyway, I decided that electrical engineering was going to take me 2 to 3 more years. So I went to Dean of Men, who happened to be a retired colonel, and he was my advisor. And he says, gee, you make great grades in chemistry. So I finished out my degree that year with a degree in chemistry and another degree in mathematics, because I had all the courses. And in fact, I had 60 more hours that I had taken in the Navy as correspondence courses. And so I had a lot of extra hours I could fit in, you know, all sort of stuff. So anyway, that was a plus. My Navy experience was going on a destroyer escort from Great Lakes we only did 6 weeks boot camp, and they put us on a ship, which was in storage. So we did all the things you got to do to take a ship out of you know, those big air conditioners, I call them, keeping the things from rusting, you know, drying out, all the wiring and everything. And so I went on ship as a machinist mate down in, you know, cleaning up 2 or 3 years of junk that was laying around. We got it running and took off for Korea. We got over to Korea. We were over there about probably took us about a month to get over there, and it took us about a month to get back. But they sent us directly to Newport, Rhode Island, into the Atlantic fleet. So I was in both the Pacific and the Atlantic fleets, and so I made friends with an old chief, and he saw that I had some college background and I was good at math and all that stuff. So every time something came up to get promotion, well, he'd encourage me to study for it, take the test. And I very quickly rose up. All my peers were still, you know, machinist mates and seamen, and I was a 3rd class petty officer. Then I made 2nd class petty officer. And the summer before I actually got out, summer '54, I took the test to become a 1st class petty officer, and I passed it. But I'd also applied for an early out, and so I got out in November. So I didn't do quite 4 full years. And so my first class petty officer rank didn't come through because they saved money. See, they didn't have, when I went home, well, I think it was another $12 or something like that. So it didn't matter to me, I was gone. So I started in the college again, got this degree in chemistry, and the following year I got married. We moved to Chicago, and I was a research chemist for about 10 years, I guess. And so the powers that be decided that I was good at speaking, and I was 4 years older than my peers. So they put me in charge of a lot of stuff. I'd been in charge of men on the ship, and I was just still a kid, but I knew a lot of stuff. And but the ironic thing here is 7 of us joined the Navy together. 4 of us from this little bitty town were on the same ship, all 4 years. And so anyway, there's one still alive. Me and the other one are still the only 2 alive, and he's the same age as I am. I'm 88.
So you all decided to join at the same time?
Yeah.
What made you decide to join?
Keep from getting drafted,
Okay.
which I didn't have to worry about because I was making straight A's. I didn't realize that. It wouldn't make any difference anyway. Yeah, my brother was an influence on me not to go, because he probably hadn't been out more than a couple of years, and he had it rough, and nothing ever happened to me. I mean, always something like that. But I got a couple of commendations. One of them was I saved a little kid's life in, where was I? Barbados. It just so happened that he was an ambassador, and his little boy got in the tides, and I just happened to be there. And so I got him out, and I got a medal and all that stuff,
Nice.
And I don't have the medal anymore. I don't have any idea where it is.
How did you save him?
It was from Barbados. It wasn't from the United States. So.
How did you save him? How did you save him?
How did I save him? I went in and surfed and got him. It wasn't anything to it. I mean, he was out there about 200 yards, I guess.
Okay.
And I wasn't a fat old man then. And then the other thing I did is I put a running light, put a new bulb in. It just sounds like not very important, but when you're in a flotilla or whatever ships, they can see you in the daytime. In the nighttime, they can't see you unless you have running lights. You have a green one for one side of the ship and a red one for another side of the ship, and then you have one up on a mast, which is red, and the red one burn out. So I halfway volunteered to go change it. I wasn't really too sure that we were in a hurricane. So the mast is 40 feet high. So they put all these belts on me, just like in the movies, 10 guys on ropes. I went up the ladder and screwed a light bulb in, put the cap back on, came back down. And so they gave me a captain's commendation. That's my hope. Except I didn't get a medal or anything. I got a piece of paper. I don't have it either. And so anyway, the Navy was very good to me. I learned a lot. Went all over the world. Here's a kid that I hadn't even been on a bus when I left for the Navy.
Wow.
not even a school bus.
Did you witness any combat?
None. We fired on something, you know, when we come in close to the shore of Korea, but I wasn't involved. I was down below, except that one time. I went up, saw the maid. You know, that was my extent of combat. But yeah, then we came back to the East Coast and became a training ship for Navy reservists. Went everywhere. They'd fly these 8 or 10 radar and sonar men in, and we'd pick them up and at the base, whatever base it was, Norfolk, Key West mostly. And I don't know how many times I was in Havana, probably 30 times, like that, you know, 2 or 3 days. That's what we would do is at the end of their training period, we'd take them to Havana and let them get in trouble.
Loose.
And,
Did you have many casualties in your unit?
none.
That's good.
Anything that mattered because it wasn't combat related. Somebody's doing stupid stuff. You know? Yeah.
Were you able to keep in touch with your family?
Oh yes.
How did you do that?
Well, by mail.
Okay.
Or sometimes I call home if I come into port and go down. I went to the Y because number one, they had phone booths, and I could call home. And I can still remember my telephone number.
Oh wow.
237L. My wife thinks that's funny. I don't know why. I don't know why I can remember that. But yeah. So then I started college, and I did real well in college, and was a research chemist. They asked me to go into customer relations, which really wasn't sales. What I did is go to customer or people that were becoming customers, were customers, if they had problems, like a troubleshooter. That's what I did for seemed like forever. And then I had a guru. You know what a guru is? A guy that, he was an older man, he was a vice president, and he liked me. And he'd always call me up about once a month and says, "Jack, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm working on this experiment right now." He says, "Meet me for lunch." It's a big deal. And I said, "Yes, sir." I go to lunch with him. He said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm doing fine. I could use more money." He says, we'll talk about that, So anyway, I got promoted very quickly, just like I did in the Navy, But I did what they asked me to do. They didn't have to stand there and tell me. They sent me all kind of schools. I've been to candy school, baking school, brewing school, all these different things, And so I stayed in that for about 5 years, I guess, and then a company in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, sent a headhunter after me and doubled my salary. My dad was mad at me for seems like years for quitting a good job, but I made twice as much money, which he liked. And well, I did that for a long time. Then they made me a vice president, and I left that job to buy a company of my own, and my partner ran away with all of our assets. So I went broke. Didn't have any money to pay my salary, and I couldn't find him. So anyway, I got another job about 2 weeks, and went went to work for Domino Sugar. I spent a long time with Domino, and eventually became a vice president there. And basically, once you make vice president, it's pretty, I don't know if it's called easy. You have to have a qualification. But from then on, it was always vice president. Whatever I went, I think I changed jobs 4 or 5 times. And so, yeah.
When you were in the service, did you ever feel any pressure or stress?
Well, yeah, I guess you did because, you know, over the PA system said, all my hands on deck, you know, all hands at general quarters. This is not a drill. And you went, what the hell's going on? You know, but they're not telling you. You went to your assigned spot, and you stayed there and did what you did until they told you that you could leave. You know, sometimes it was 15 minutes, sometimes it was 2 or 3 days. You know, and you could get time to go eat and stuff like that. Sometimes you can. But yeah.
Did you ever run low on supplies?
No.
Did you, do you recall any specific unusual or funny events?
Unusual, the only thing I saw was a guy get his hand blown off. He was, we were playing war games with submarine. And we were at a sonar, you know, we're a sonar ship. So we were pinging these training submarines. And this guy, say we signaled that we had a hit, you know, and what they do is throw a phosphorus grenade, which is nothing but a grenade that would burn, even in the water, until it burned out. And he held the trigger. He took his thumb off the trigger, and blew up in his hand. And it didn't kill him or anything. Took his fingers off. And so that was pretty hectic. I wasn't around when that happened, but I mean, I was there, but I didn't do anything because the corpsman took care of it right away. That's the only exciting thing. That and climbing up the mast. Tell you about some fist fights and stuff. I used to think I was pretty tough, and never lost a fight. So
Not bad.
Learn how to drink beer.
There you go. Did anyone ever pull any pranks in the unit?
Not too much. We were pretty serious about our jobs. You come to think about this, Dan. You take 320 guys, of which about maybe 25 of them were either officers or higher ranked than I was. And the other 300 were kids just like me, you know, 18, 19, 20 years old, never done anything. But, you know, some of them were farm boys. Some of them hadn't done anything. And get those guys to run a $1 million ship, millions of dollars worth of ship. Just think about that. How regimented it. You don't know it while it's happening, but it's happening every single day. It was somebody was telling you what to do and asked you, okay, now what will happen if you don't do this? You know, just one thing after the other. You know? And I did a lot of different things as an electrician. You know, I ran the intercommunications, where all the compasses, all the communications, and everything, all the electrical things that went on, keeping those things running. So it was pretty important on the ship.
Do you recall the day your service ended and any
Yep.
details about that day?
Visually, I was in Newport, Rhode Island on November 11th, 1954. It was Armistice Day. And why they were discharging me that day, I don't know. But I was still in the Navy, but I had been signed all the papers to get out of the Navy. But I was waiting to go before the paymaster, and I had to wait another day to get my check to go home. And I was sitting on a bench at the Navy War College in Newport, Rhode Island, and I looked out over the Narragansett Bay, and here come a tugboat with a big cable behind it, and it was pulling a ship, and it was my ship. It was about like that. A submarine had surfaced underneath of it. Went right through the bottom of the ship, right where I would have been. And I wasn't there. It didn't, the guy got out. I mean, he was there, but, you know, when it came through and he got out of the compartment and got up on deck, and nobody was killed or hurt or anything, but that's pretty hairy when you think about it.
Mm.
So I jumped in I was in dungarees, so I just went and changed uniforms, got my first class uniform on, went down to the dock when they brought it in, tied it up. They had a 28-foot by about 2 feet gash in the bottom of that ship. And I guess that's when they put it out of commission.
Mm-hmm.
And I still had a lot of friends on there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of hairy, but nobody was hurt.
What did you do in the days and weeks after you were out of the service?
What did I do? I started college.
Mm.
The very next week.
Wow.
Yeah. Started my second quarter of college. Yeah. So from then on, in the summertime, I had various jobs. I worked for, first summer I worked for Borg Warner. In the, of course, this again brings into account that I had a background with Caterpillar, and I knew about machinery, you know, how to make things. And I got a really good job. And I lied. The guy said, "Are you going to go back to college?" And I got the job because I was in college, right? He said, "Are you going back to college?" And I said, "Oh, no." I said, "This is a good job." And it was a good job. I mean, I would make more money than my dad. Anyway, I stayed there till the very last second. And I said, "I'm sorry." I said, "I've got to go back to college." So I did. Smart move. I did very, very well in my business career, you know, and get to live in paradise. Yeah.
How did your service and experiences affect your life?
Oh, I think you learn at a very young age maturity. Sometimes you don't act very mature, you know, but you learn how to handle your money. You learn how to make friends, and I'm talking about real deep, like brothers almost. Maybe better than brothers, but brothers fight. But anyway, think about it. I'm still friends 70 years later. The two guys that are still alive, I talk to them. One of them I talk to every week, and he's not doing too good, but the other one, he's pretty good. He's about like me, you know. They were farm boys, and they just now retired. I mean, they turned their farms over to somebody, I don't know, family, I guess. Yeah, they're all dead. So I haven't come close. Well, I had a heart attack here about 15 years ago. I got 4 bypasses and 6 stents. So I'm still kicking.
Mm-hmm.
I had one here.
Yeah.
Nobody knew about it.
Wow.
I was walking across the patio. It was last October. I'd come from my car I was by myself for some reason. Usually my wife's after me all the time, you know. Anyway, I was coming across that patio on that side, you know. I parked back there. And I said, I really felt strange, you know. So I sat down on a bench out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I had groceries with me. And so I picked the sack up and I came got inside and opened the door, and my wife said, "Are you all right?" And I said, "No." And she didn't call 911. She called my son, and he just happened to be in town, and he came out here and got me, took me up to St. Francis, and they put some stents in me.
Mm-hmm.
I was home in 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there anything you would like to add about any of your experiences or anything else if we didn't cover it already?
Well, I've done 2 or 3 of these kind of interviews, and basically they were to a bunch of high school kids, you know. And I said, I bet you $5, each of you, that I set you down and your story to me would be almost identical to the story I've just told you. But I said, what you have to remember is, it's entirely up to you which direction you want to be, you know. You want to go out and drink beer and act foolish and everything, that's okay, you know. Spend money if you got the money. If it's your money, fine. If it's Dad's money, think where it came from, you know. But I said, so many of us don't think that way. You don't remember where your dad came from, or what he had to put up with to get you to where you are. You're sitting here interviewing me for a credit in high school to help you get into that'll be part of your resume to get into college, regardless of whether you think it's a good college or not, you know. And they were pretty well attended. It was 5 kids out here, and they did a booklet. I mean, I wish I had that book right now. I'd show it to you. It's really nice. It was a 2-page write-up, pictures. Had a picture of my ship, and me, about that thick. I think they had 25 guys that they'd interview for their assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And that was at Houston High School.
Mm-hmm.
And I did one in Arizona, same way at high school there, 6 to 8 years ago. But yeah, to me, if you want something bad enough, don't give up just because you made a D in something. Go find out why you made a D, and then get your ass in gear and study. I mean, you didn't go to high school to lay around. Who's going to take care of you? Because you're going to come to the day that Dad's not going to be there, and or you have a dad that won't take care of you, or Grandpa that won't. You know, you got to do it yourself. You got to start thinking for yourself. Don't think about the sweet girl that's in the row behind you, or the car that you wish you had, or whatever you wanted a car. My dad was in a brother in the Chevrolet business. I didn't get a driver's license until I was 23. When I got out of the Navy, I bought a brand new 1954 Chevrolet that my brother had saved out of the fleet, you know, the selling cars. So I bought it at cost. I didn't like it. So the very next summer I had a good job. I traded on a 55. That's been my thing ever since my wife gets so angry with me. Every 3 years, I get a new car. And I haven't done that since I retired. I have bought some cars since I retired. And, but I've always had a brand new Cadillac or T-Bird or Oldsmobile or something like that. I'm driving a Lexus now. The Lexus is getting old. Yeah, it's 9 years old. I got 60,000 miles on it. What a cream puff.
Yeah.
Boy, I don't know how many guys I had to stop me and ask me, what year is that? And I tell them, how many miles you got on there? The last time I was asking, it had 50,000 miles. So I drive about, I think about 2,000 miles a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty mild.
Yeah, it does. You know, if you're going to do it from the get-go, if you didn't have it, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But you got it, so take care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much,
Oh,
Mr.
you've done
Saatkamp,
already?
and thank you for your service.
Is this what
unless-
you're looking for?
Yeah, exactly it.